Hello everyone, Philip Boksa here, and in this video we'll go ahead and talk about 1099s, which are independent contractors, and employees, which are W-2s, because when you guys are starting out and you're starting to hire, you kind of have to pick a business model that you guys are going to follow, right? Whether it's from a hiring standpoint or marketing standpoint, there is a business model that you have to follow. So in this video, we'll talk about what they are and which one is the better choice. So 1099s usually, or in all cases, are people that already have their own companies and work for themselves, and you get to outsource the work to those people or those businesses, right? So if you're doing home cleaning as an example and you're looking for cleaners to do the job, you can go ahead and give someone a cut and give them the job, and then they will go ahead and do it. They'll have their own supplies and all of that good stuff, right? So a 1099 independent contractor model is great. That's actually how I started because it was so much easier to start. And we'll talk about that in just a second. And then W-2 employees, those are people that you hire that directly work for your company, okay? So the big difference between the two is that with contractors, you literally just give them the job and they perform it without you telling them how to do the job. They get to do it however they want. They have their own supplies, if we're still taking that home cleaning example, their own methods, techniques. And in the other one, where it's W-2s and employees, you get to control the whole entire operation, right? So you can tell them exactly what they need to bring, what kind of supplies they should be getting, how they should perform the work, all of that good stuff. That's the biggest difference and the most important difference, okay? So now, which one should you hire or which one should you follow? Which model is better for you? Because that's a typical question that most people have, and that's one that you have to figure it out right from the start, because if you don't get it properly and you don't figure this one out, then you could get in trouble. So because there are strict rules for contractors and there are strict rules for employees, so you have to make sure that which one you're using, and you have to make sure that you follow the rules so that you don't get in trouble in the future, okay? Now let's go ahead and talk about big businesses, because that is pretty much what everybody wants to know here. Can you grow a large business with both models, right? Can you get to 10 million, $100 million in revenue with both models? And the answer is yes. And this is the thing that I want to bring up right from the start, because whenever I go inside the Booking Koala community, or I even read on Reddit or anything like that, people say that you cannot scale a 1099 model like you can with W-2s, which are employees, right? And that, I think, is a huge misconception. I would not listen to that advice whatsoever, because what I always tell people is, look what's out there. Are people doing it? Is it possible? Okay. That pretty much gives you the answer right away, right? Are there businesses that are worth $100 million or are doing $100 million in revenue annually that are following the 1099 model? Are there billion-dollar businesses that are doing billions of dollars in revenue that are following the 1099 model, which are the independent contractors, right? And when you look at those businesses, I mean, when you start looking and doing the research, you will know that the answer is yes, right? There are a lot of businesses that are very successful and very large. So that discredits whatever that other person is telling you, whether they're writing it in the group or on a Reddit thread or Twitter, whatever it may be, right? Because you'll be able to find yourself that there are huge businesses that exist following the 1099 model, right? And kind of fighting that side right now, because that's pretty much something that I see a lot of the times, okay? But I never see someone saying you cannot grow a large business by hiring employees, right? I think everybody pretty much understands that you can do that, and you can grow a very successful large business that's worth $100 million or $1 billion valuation by following that employee model, right? But the reason I'm bringing the other one up is because that's the only one that I see a lot of people have opinions about and fighting it. So the answer should be very clear when you do your own research, right? So you can do both, and that's completely up to you which one you would want to do, okay? And like I mentioned before, when I started in the home cleaning industry, I mean, we scaled that to millions of dollars in revenue, and we used entirely 1099 models. So it is possible, and it's very possible to scale it and provide great quality work. Okay. And that should be common sense because, again, if someone becomes $1 billion company or even doing 5 million in revenue, especially doing a lot of volume for services like home cleaning, poop scooping are worth $100 to $300 per job, or poop scooping, which is like $10 per service. In order to scale something to millions of dollars, you have to be providing good quality, right? You will never scale to such levels if you are not providing good quality. Okay. So yes, you can scale to a big business with a 1099 model. And yes, you could provide excellent quality. Sometimes a lot of these services that do 1099 are much better than people that have full control and use the employee model, right? For example, in my own business, we use Booking Koala and we use reviews, internal reviews to filter providers, which is very important because you get to quickly see how someone is doing with reviews, right? So they go to a job and someone rates them very quickly right after. You get 1 review, you get 3 reviews, you kind of already have the idea of how someone is performing, right? And you get to make a decision based on those reviews, what to do. First, when you're starting, well, you might need to make phone calls because you might not have enough volume of jobs coming in to determine these things quickly, right? So you might have to not only rely on these reviews, internal reviews, but if someone doesn't leave a review, you might have to still call to get feedback so that you quickly can get feedback on your provider, and either they will stay with you and you will keep them or you will remove them, right? And that's kind of another difference between W-2s and 1099s. With 1099s, you could just simply stop giving jobs to someone. With W-2, letting someone go is a process, right? More legal things involved and stuff like that. So that's why I also like 1099s, because you could just, someone's underperforming, you don't want to give them another chance because you just know they won't do better. You can just stop giving them jobs, right? That's a pro of the 1099 model, which makes things a lot easier that way as well, right? So again, reviews, you filter providers very quickly. And like I was mentioning, for my own home cleaning service, we have cleaners that literally have thousands of jobs and hundreds, if not thousands of reviews, some of them. And after a while, you really get to know how they're doing, because if they're a near 5 out of 5 stars out of hundreds of reviews or thousands of reviews, then I mean, that tells you a lot, right? You just want to keep giving them jobs over and over again, especially if they're willing to take all of them, right? And that's the nice part about 1099s as well. So you can have very high quality providers based on reviews if you're filtering them and getting feedback from your clients. You could literally have so many providers that are just very, very good and very skilled. And I mean, you could use reviews to see if your W-2s are performing good, right? As well. So there's no difference, right? I would still use reviews for both of them, for employees and 1099s. But I'm just trying to give you an example to show you that through reviews, you're going to be able to tell if your 1099s are good, and you're going to be able to quickly get rid of them or give them more jobs. So it should never be a problem or a question thinking 1099s not as good as W-2s, because they are just as good and they could even be better, right? Because when you even think about it, with W-2s, a lot of people train them, right? So they come with no experience, they just get trained. But with 1099s, you could already look for people that have experience, okay? And right off the bat, they might be much better. So here you get to train somebody, and it might take a while for them to go through the training process. And with 1099s, they might be already trained, ready to go, right? You may want to send them on a test job if you want to, or you could just believe what they're saying, especially if they have already reviews, because they have their own business. They could show you references. And if you think these providers are ready to go, you could just send them out and start getting your feedback, right? So again, the misconception is that you cannot build a quality business and a big business using 1099s. And yes, you can, right? So now that's up to you which one you want to go with. If I were to start, I probably would lean 1099 always, because it's just a lot easier. And me knowing that you could build a huge business both ways, why wouldn't I go that route, right? So that's huge. You just have to make sure that you guys are not getting in trouble with your state and doing things properly and not misclassifying the workers, right? So make sure that you look at what it takes to be a 1099 and you actually place them in the correct spot. And there are ways of doing that, okay? because there's literally billion-dollar businesses that are doing that without getting in trouble. So if you take anything from this video, that's what you should take. There are people doing it successfully and they are not getting in trouble. So there are literally ways to do this, okay? You just cannot hire someone as a 1099 and then say, I'm going to be controlling everything you do. This is what you have to do. You didn't do it properly. Now you have to go back, fix the job, and do this exactly, right? That's not how it works. You have to let them do it in their own way. So like I said, that's up to you which one you guys would go with. Me personally, I think I favor the 1099 model if we're talking about strictly for a service business, okay, where I'm hiring people or I'm recruiting people that go out and do the jobs. So that's up to you to decide, but it is possible to grow a large business with both. And in the end, I don't think there really is a better way, or I should say one is better than the other. I think they're both great and it's possible to get to wherever you want to go with either one.